We're going to take a look at the loan mods section of Captasoft. So from the dashboard I go over to workspace and I've got multiple verticals, we'll call them, in here. I'm going to go down to loan mods, click there, and that's going to take me into my loan mods section where I can see all my records, all my open loan mods records. I can sort by any of these columns, or I can search over here. I'm going to go ahead and start a new record by clicking Add New Record, and I'm going to take you through each of the sections of a record. So when you add a new record, you'll be taken into this section here where you have these different modules or widgets. If I click on the bar, it'll expand that module. So here in the first one, the Records Details module, I can give it the a loan mod ID. I can change this ID if I like. Over here I can assign the state and the disposition. Here I can also assign it to multiple people. I can have up to 5 people assigned who will have access to this record. Down here we have the client portal area. The client portal is a way you can share this record with your clients. So this is could be a read-only or a read-write. Right now this record is not associated with any client yet, so it's not linked, so there's no client access. So to minimize this module, I just click up here, and now we can move down into the borrower module. Here's where we have all of our contact information, employment information. If you've imported your contacts into the address book, you can use that to populate the record. So if I click up here, I can go ahead and scroll down and find the person, or if I want, I can just search. So let's say if we search for Smith, let's say Francis Smith. So I choose that record, all these fields get populated. I can click over here to update, and that will save any of my changes. All of the widgets will have this update button over here on the right you can use to save your changes as we move down. So one thing I wanted to point out is now that we have an email address populated in this field, we get this link here that says Send Client Portal Invitation. This will allow the user that we just added, this Francis Smith, to have access to view this record. So that's what this does. If I click on this link here, I'm going to get a dialog that's going to pop up, and if I click send, it's going to send a invitation to register to that email address. So once we're done in the borrower area, I can just click this blue bar and that'll minimize it. The next section is co-borrower, which is exactly like the borrower, so no need to go into that one. Next is the questionnaire. This is an intake questionnaire. These are common questions for a loan mod customer. So you can fill these out. Is the property in foreclosure? You can click this over to yes and put in the foreclosure date. So I'm going to click here to minimize that. The next section, property, mortgage, and lender. This is where we're capturing all the information about what type of mortgage it is, the date it was written, who the lender is, the lender contact info, any notes, is there a second mortgage or second lender. And again, once you fill all that information out, you can click update to save your changes. Next we have income, expenses, and assets. Here we have a DTI calculator that will go through and calculate debt to income. As you start to fill these fields out, the system will start to populate the values up along the top. So if I start filling this out, you can see I'm getting my debt to income calculated up here. So let's say I want to save this. I'll click update. Now I'll click here to minimize that section. Moving down, we have the status and checklist. This is very popular for your clients. They can see the status of where their loan mod is at, what section it's at. If I click over here, I can see this is the documents checklist. So any of these are common documents that are required for a loan mod. So the agent can order these, and as the client delivers them, they can go ahead and mark these off and say the power of attorney was delivered on such and such date. So I'm going to click to minimize that section. Next we have internal notes. These are notes that are only going to be visible to the agents that have access to this record. The client will not see these notes. So if I minimize that, now I'm going to be taken to the external notes. This note area the clients can see. So we can put in messages here to the client. Please submit forms. And if I click over here, it's going to add that comment to the notes section. It's going to put a time and date stamp on it, and as well as my username, and then it's going to have the body of the information there. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this section up here now. And the last section is the document upload. So I can click here to upload any documents that I want to attach to this case record. If I have a lot of documents, I might want to organize them into folders. So I can create folders over here. Go ahead and put in the name and click add folder, and then I can start to organize these into subfolders. So if I have a lot of records, I can organize them that way. So I can click to minimize this one. Let's say when I'm all done, I can click this save all and done. That's going to go ahead and save all of my record information, and it's going to take me back to the record list page. And you can see here's our record for Francis Smith. And that concludes the loan mod section of Captasoft.